You ever notice how some battles don't look like battles at all? They start with a knock at your door, a knock so stiff and joyless, you know right away you're not about to be asked over for coffee. That was me, Thursday morning, oil-stained hands from the shed, when Melissa Denton and Don Walters showed up on my front walk. Melissa, always in that powder blue blazer, always with a smile like she's sucking on a lemon, stood next to Don, the compliance guy, who clung to his clipboard like it might save him from judgment. I could have guessed their lines before they spoke. In Cedar Hollow, that's how things worked. You saw the warning signs. You just hoped they weren't aimed at you. Mr. Callahan, we need to speak with you about an unauthorized alteration on your property, she said. I didn't blink. Which one? I've done a lot this year. New chicken coop, trellis mailbox. Don wasn't the joking type. He just jabbed his clipboard at my back field. That pond isn't permitted under community regulations. You didn't get approval. I looked past them, water still as glass, a heron perched dignified on the bank. That pond was my healing, my ritual after Margaret died. I built it for irrigation, for wildlife, for something to do with my hands when the house felt too empty. It's not a water feature, I told them. It's a farm pond. I followed the AG zoning. Didn't matter. Melissa handed me a $2,500 fine, official letterhead, threats of more trouble. She didn't even flinch. Let me tell you, you can live in a place 12 years, pay your dues, follow every rule, and still wake up one day as a problem. Margaret loved this neighborhood. The trees, the trails, the little green belt where the maples turned scarlet in fall. I stayed because of her. After she was gone, it was all I had left of our life together. But that morning, with that fine in my hand, I realized Cedar Hollow had turned into something uglier. Not about rules. About control. You know, I wasn't some city guy pretending to be a farmer. I'd filed my county paperwork, kept every permit. My pond was legal, certified, inspected. I'd been a logistics officer in the Corps. I knew how to track a document. So I sat in my shed, dusted off an old file box, and started pulling everything together. The more I dug, the clearer it got. This wasn't about a pond. It was about a power trip. A couple days later, I drove into town and marched right into the zoning office. No appointment, just a folder thick as a brick. I asked for Ryan Dorsey, the guy who knew county code like scripture. Told him the HOA fined me for doing everything by the book. He looked through my paperwork, slow and careful, then nodded. If what you're saying checks out, they're way over the line. He sent a field tech to check my pond. No violations, no risk. Just a small farm pond doing exactly what I said it did. Still, a week later, I got another letter from the HOA. More threats, more legal talk, more of that cowardly tone folks use when they think paperwork is armor. That weekend, I went to the HOA meeting. Not many people go to those. Too much fake politeness and folding chairs. But I went. When Melissa saw me, her face tightened. "You're not on the agenda," she said. "I'm invoking the public comment period." 3 minutes, she told me. That's all I needed. I laid out every permit, every official email. "Your fine is illegal," I said, loud enough for every neighbor to hear. "You find others the same way. This ends now." When I walked out, nobody stopped me. Something in the air changed after that. Maybe just a little, but it was real. 3 days later, the HOA sent me a certified envelope, big red letters, final notice before legal action. Claimed I'd disturbed the visual harmony of the neighborhood, made up some nonsense about endangering subsurface water balance. No mention of the county's approval. I stood in my kitchen with that letter and a match. Burned it in the fire pit by the pond, watched the words curl to ash. I wasn't fighting about a pond anymore. I was fighting for my dignity. And I wasn't alone. I started calling neighbors. Linda, fined for a veggie bed no one could see. Ramon, scolded for painting his porch the wrong white. Gail, threatened over solar panels. We sat on my porch and traded stories, spread our paperwork out on the table. The more we talked, the more names we collected. 12, then 20. People fined for mailboxes, for ramps, for their kids crying at night. We built a spreadsheet, cross-checked it with the bylaws. Turns out, 80% of those fines had no legal teeth. It was theft, plain and simple. So we filed a grievance with the county housing department. 56 pages of evidence. No warnings, just dropped it like a hammer. A week later, Ryan called. Internal review launched. Legal oversight unit notified. Is that good? I asked. For you? It's about damn time. Don Walters didn't look up when he passed Linda's house. Neighbors started waving again. Something was waking up. I kept digging. Cedar Hollow's HOA had been raking in over $180,000 in fees and fines in just 3 years, over half of it missing from the budget, funneled through a consulting firm owned by Melissa's husband. It wasn't even subtle. We gathered more stories, more receipts, built a Google Drive with every document we could find. Chuck Wallace, an old board member, confessed Melissa had manipulated a proxy vote to rewrite the rules. I got a thread in my mailbox, anonymous, venomous, promising consequences. I scanned it, emailed it to the county, then posted copies on a bulletin board by the park. This is what power looks like when it's threatened. By Monday, the HOA tore it down, but the story was out. People started talking, really talking, for the first time in years. Thank you notes showed up on my porch, a single mom, a veteran, a man whose wife cried over a lien notice. We weren't just neighbors anymore. We were a community. The county scheduled a hearing. The day before, someone dumped bleach in my pond. I found dead reeds, poisoned water, filed a report, took photos, posted them for all to see. They're not just threatening us. They're poisoning our land. That night, another note. You should know when to quit. But I'd seen worse threats in war zones. This was theater by amateurs. The hearing was a full house. 60 residents, standing room only. Kelly Tran, the investigator, laid out the case. Financial abuse, selective enforcement, zero accountability. Melissa gave a polished performance, blaming a vocal minority, but the evidence crushed her. I spoke, shared my story, then neighbors spoke, one by one, honest and raw. The county asked about audits. There were none. The ruling came down. The HOA was stripped of its authority, fined, forced to repay over $140,000 to residents. Melissa resigned. Don was suspended. Their shell firm dissolved. But the biggest change wasn't on paper. It was in people. Gardens bloomed, porches painted wild colors, laughter in the air. That we rewrote the charter. No more arbitrary fines, full transparency, actual community care. I put Margaret's old bench by the pond, sat with Linda, listened to the frogs, the wind, the freedom. Kids played by the water, their joy unguarded. We didn't just win. We healed. And as the sun set, the herons standing tall in the reeds, I knew that sometimes, when you stand your ground, the ground stands with you. Tell me, was I right to fight, or did I just get lucky? Do rules matter, or does justice live somewhere deeper? I want to hear your stories. Let's talk about what community really means.